Today we read Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 to 5. When I was first pregnant with my first child, and newly amazed at the event, I remember walking around town and thinking, that's odd, the place is full of pregnant women. Is it always like that? And probably, yes. The difference being simply that I was noticing, because being an expectant mother was on my brain. This is an example of what the psychologists call selective perception. Our brains are assaulted with millions of stimuli constantly. And to cope with this, they select out a few to bring to our conscious attention and to make some sense of. Which ones they select depends on all sorts of variables. My experience was a preoccupation with a particular condition, so that I noticed that around me more than anything else, more than ever before. It wasn't relevant before, not to me anyway. This is an innocent and harmless example. Jesus was teaching about something less innocent and potentially more harmful. We have a tendency to notice those things which fit our existing ideas or attitudes or preoccupations, and to screen out those that don't. The naughty child gets noticed for being naughty, but not so much for being good, because it doesn't fit the pattern. This also means that we're inclined to interpret our own behaviour more favourably than that of others. And this leads us to the mote and the plank, or the speck and the log. I am relaxed, but someone else is lazy. I'm tidy, but someone else is OCD. I'm sensitive, but someone else is touchy. Jesus put this across as a joke, using exaggeration, hyperbole, to make the point in a ridiculously exaggerated way so that people would laugh. And under cover of the joke, would take in the message as well. He did this a lot. There's a lot more humour in the Gospels than you might imagine, and I bet he often had a twinkle in his eye when he was teaching. After all, everyone would rather listen to a good story, or better still, a good joke, than a sermon. And it seems to be this human tendency to notice one's own faults in others that we don't really want to be told about. And we see our own faults in others enlarged, as it were, and we're more alert and aware of them than our own faults. Why do you see the speck in your neighbour's eye, but you do not notice the log in your own eye? When this is observed by someone else, it looks at least ridiculous and potentially hypocritical. So what can we do to avoid this pitfall? One way is to stop and notice that inner voice of criticism. You know, when it says, look at that. How can that person do such and such? So stop and think, wait, why did I notice that? Why did I notice that behaviour? Why has my brain selected that out to bring to my attention? Is that like me in some way? Is there something that I do like that? Or if that person knew all there is to know about me, what might they be critical of? Isn't that an uncomfortable thought? Remember the story in John's Gospel about the woman taken in adultery and the dilemma of the would-be judgmental crowd. OK, fine, said Jesus. Line up. The one without sin at the front. Then you can start. Go ahead and stone her. In a moment of self-awareness, the crowd gradually melted away. The oldest first. First, take the log out of your own eye. Then you can see clearly.